Let's do a quick run through of some of the settings on the T1 ToneMatch audio engine. I'll do that using a microphone plugged into channel 1. Right now I've got the channel edit turned on so that anything I do here will apply to channel 1. Okay, I'm going to turn up the volume a bit so you can hear what's going on. Fine, so you should now be able to hear the microphone. First thing I'm going to do is set the ToneMatch preset. Right now it's on utility flat, which is okay, but it doesn't sound great. So I'm going to change the ToneMatch preset to category vocal mics. This happens to be a Neumann KMS 105, so I'm going to pick that one. There, so select. Okay, so this is the sound with the preset. Now, an interesting thing you can do is bypass a preset. I'm just going to turn it off briefly so you can hear the difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, preset on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, preset off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the preset back on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the preset bypassed. So if you're ever wondering, what is this preset doing for me, you can always bypass it. There. All right, next thing we'll try, I'll just turn down the volume a little bit, is we can look at the zEQ. So the zEQ is basically the tone controls, low, mid, high, and I'll turn that up again so you can hear it. Here we go. So I'm going to turn up the low so you can hear it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that becomes a little overbearing. If you want to ever find out what your zEQ settings are doing for you, you can bypass them. So I'm just going to leave that up. It's a little too bassy. I just click the button, it's now bypassed. So this is flat. Bypass is basically flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a little unpleasant. Maybe what I would do with this microphone is back it off a little bit. Maybe a couple of dB. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it is with the zEQ bypass for the low frequency. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something else I could do, let me set that back to flat. Let's try the mid so you can hear that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not very pleasant. Maybe I'll back some of that out. All right, so what is this doing for me? I'll just bypass it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at any time you can actually hear the difference with or without the zEQ engaged. I'll do it again with the highs. This will probably trigger some feedback, but here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you can hear it starting to feedback there. And I'll just bypass that because that was a little unpleasant. Okay, so that's the ToneMatch preset. Generally will help you get whatever your input is to sound great. And then if you want to do some fine tuning, you can do that with the zEQ, which is low, mid, and high. And we just saw that you can bypass things to get them back to 0 very quickly. There, okay. So I'll just, oops. All right, so bypass is basically the same as 0. Let's look at ParaEQ, which stands for parametric equalizer. I tend not to use this very much unless I've got a problem to solve. And that problem might be something like a particular frequency sounds a little boomy. Sometimes if you're trying to figure out which frequency is troubling you, you can use the tuner. So I'm going to use the tuner, and let's say that this sound, la 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 la, is troubling me. I'm not happy with that sound around there. So la 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 la, and I'll see that that was about G2 there, G sharp 2, G2. Okay, so that gives me an idea of the frequency I want to manipulate. So now I can go to ParaEQ. G2 happens to be about 100 hertz, but if I was looking for a different frequency, I would turn this until I get to the note, or the frequency if I happen to know it. So there's G2, which just happens to be about where my voice is. And now what I can do with that is, this is like a tone control, but specifically for 100 hertz. So now I can back some of that out, la 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 la, and then you can hear that frequency coming out of my voice. So that's the relationship between the frequency, and then this is like a tone control specifically at that frequency. The other thing you can do with that, I'm just going to leave it like that for now, because that's fairly extreme. You can actually hear it in the microphone. Now I'm going to change the width, because right now that will affect my voice as I go up a little bit or down a little bit. It still sounds like it's affecting this. If I narrow the width over which this is effective, so that's in this case now just 0.2 of an octave, then if I go up a little bit or down a little bit, it's not having a lot of effect, but it is having an effect, la 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 la, right there at 100 hertz, only 0.2 octaves wide. If I make that wider, then the range over which it's effective gets wider, and you can hear that even though my voice is varying up and down above and below G2, it's still pulling out a good 15 dB. So I find that the zEQ, the ParaEQ that we're using here is really like a surgical tool to fix problems, and you can decide how sharp that tool will be, or how broadly, going in the other direction, you want it to have its effect. Now, what I've done to demonstrate this is probably pretty extreme. There's very, very, very rarely would I go minus 15 dB, but I wanted to give you a look at that. So that was setting the ToneMatch preset, using the zEQ, which is basically low, mid, and high, and then ParaEQ, which is, for me at least, is basically for problem solving. And you can see I can also click this button for bypass if I want to completely defeat what it's doing. Okay, so that's our three settings: ToneMatch preset, zEQ, and ParaEQ.